I mean, so those benchmarks, that rhythm, I may not read as a parent, but the disc jockey reads it, and I think that the TV should buy into that, radio, whatever the politics are, should buy into that. And again, with 30,000 students, such a rhythm can be defined. If you have to use billboards, this is report card. No parent should know if they read your paper, watch TV, listen to radio, go to church. No one should be to miss 9, 18, 27, 36 weeks. Just this as a basic rhythm. And all parents have, and that many people can be a part of, using, what's her name, Miss Williams, or the girl that's star singer around here? Michelle. I'm saying even using other personalities to kind of highlight this report card we guys. There's many ways I really would fight for promoting that rhythm, so no one can say that they missed the rhythm. And
I think it's
a good point.
Students should read.
I would agree, but some things I give up on.
Well, that's a piece of it, and once we get students into the reading the paper, that's a piece of it too. I know it's redundant, but I'm telling you, I was hit anew by what I saw at Niles West Monday. This caught me. I don't know why it caught me so different. But they would take this Cambodian and kids from Thailand who had never been to school at all, grew up in camps.
Well, and we see it with the
a
Latino.
Concentrated dose of English, and getting their parents a job.
There's a huge issue with that, and we again have said that editorially. But we see the success that you're talking about with the Cambodian and Laotian immigrants who have come here. We see it also with the Mexican immigrants who have come here. And that issue of parental involvement is enormous. It won't matter how many, front page things I say that this is report card week if mother and daddy or daddy are not doing
This boy's mama
something.
was in jail, Marcus. And that's why Reverend and Mrs. Brown and son adopted him. They had a relationship with Marcus. They knew him. So it was not like he was some threat to them. It's no need to use them trying to figure out some imaginary scenario. He was no threat to them, and just happened he had talked with her, and in the church talking with her, and the police came. I think we ought to say that police shouldn't do that, to come to church like that.
We will say that police shouldn't do that if and when we get the facts. But Reverend Jackson, this board cannot do what you have done. Your role is Chuck says this often to the mayor.
We have different roles. I accept you in the 40-week month timetable, something. But I have a sense of urgency because the urgency of the right nowness of people's pain, reaction, frustration, and despair is a part of my role in the world. But I'm not disrespectful of yours, and I'm not challenging the integrity of the paper. And I don't want, I'm struggling not to sound like hear me or boom. I don't want to. My point is there is a groping sense of urgency and anger and alienation and distrust in these streets that is really real.
So
Reverend Jackson, you have this sense that this is what's going on is real. You've been here for 2 days. You've met with dozens of people. How do you know? You'll be gone after tomorrow, I'm assuming. How do you know that your presence here has made any difference at all? How do you know that you've accomplished anything with your time here? And how do we know?
I don't know. I've sown some seeds.
Mm-hmm.
I know that the kids in that meeting with that Board of Education today, members of that board, and challenging those kids, trying to put in place some push for excellent program for us. I hope those seeds will germinate. I hope that. I think the meeting of ministers today at the church, who seldom meet, maybe 80 ministers, about 60 white, about 20 black ministers, trying to broaden this beyond just a black-white thing. We want to do some things that we are meeting some labor people because my concern about Rockford before this thing was kind of Rockford, Belvedere, zone on the automotive crisis. I have some real problems with our closing down our auto plants without having a plan for reindustrialization. The bank stimulus should have been linked to reinvest in America. it should have been linked to redefining trade policy. I mean, and that's why it galls me. I went to Malaysia 2 months ago, and all of the infrastructure in these cars coming right out of Malaysia, $2,000 a year wages. All that microchip, memory chip stuff coming out of there, making BMWs top record $5,000 a year and selling for $400,000 a car. And we give them bridges, they give us tariffs and walls. I mean, there's a lot of stuff about why the unemployment is so high in the first place. So there's the pain of the inadequacy or insufficiency of jobs, then there's the alienation about it, then there's the inequality. It's like you compound the crisis on the other side of town, you know.
Charlie, and you created this a black-white dialogue here, but what happens when you go? I mean, are you doing anything to prepare and to help this community move forward, or are you just here and gone?
You know, I hope we're setting in motion a longer-term relationship. We're just right down the road, you know. I mean, the ministers today talked about some real public action, maybe even hearings on the loss of jobs for everybody. I mean, we're losing more than we're making, and it may mean hearings about jobs, not just about health care. Some real action on trying to get banks to restructure, not repossess homes. I mean, some actions like that, which affects all sides of town, arguing that the student loan rate should be the same thing the deal banks get. So we're trying to put together some relationships to do some actions, some mass action beyond just tomorrow.
If you are successful in getting this head-down community to put its name and its voice out there, then I take back any negative thing I ever said to you, because this is not a community.
Take it back.
No, take it back. This isn't a community, black, white, pink, purple, whatever it is, that speaks out. You open your mouth around here, you stick your head up, and somebody's going to cut it off. We get to do that because, guess what? We get paid to do that, just like you do. But, you know, the regular person, this is a community that doesn't rock the boat. And in order to make the changes that you're talking about, you're going to have to rock the boat.
Well, it might be some boat rocking, but I mean, workers, for example, who felt the pain of job lossage want to do something. They have to. Those who lost jobs and now can't negotiate house restructuring of loans want to do something. And those who can't keep their kids in school, you know, because of the student loan crisis. So I think there's a critical mass of people who want to act. My first instinct, frankly, I heard this, was not to let this disintegrate into an explosion.
Right.
And to try to redirect some of that anger and anguish toward some plan of action. In some sense, to be a voice for them. They are convinced, I don't want to use the word, that this is what's called off the record execution.
Right.
And so we were trying to carefully Sunday use language and steer people toward turn this into the school truancy issue, turn this into the push Excel, turn this into let's fight for jobs and saving houses. Let's try to begin to do, but also let's fight for a fair share of it. So I began to ask elected officials, give me some data on the number of police and what the demographics are, black, white, and brown, number of firemen, number of teachers. So we've kept people quite busy in very meaningful ways trying to get their arms around what would be a list of structured demands for fairness. How could you measure progress? I mean, more police, you know, more teachers, representation, more firemen, more paramedics, more judges. What representation is a measurable goal? And the mayor said, well, the problem is that black people can't read well enough coming out of school to be able to pass police tests. Well, so I guess you've got a surplus of PhD policemen in town who, you all know we got to figure out a way to make the police look like the people, right?
Sure. I mean, that's a given. But we've got to get kids through school first.